What's shaking, cats and kittens? I'm Rob Lee from Getting to the Truth in This Art. And this podcast is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Bazaar. Bazaar is a gift shop for those seeking the strange and unusual. Got morbid curiosity? Got an interest in natural history? Bazaar's got you covered. Bazaar specializes in antique medical equipment, jewelry, prints, funerary antiques, and many other morbid gifts. The inventory is ever-changing. I'm wearing a great death's head moth pin, and I'm enjoying this hand-poured candle called Overgrown Cemetery. It's great. It has the studio smelling awesome. Head on over to 3534 Chestnut Avenue in Baltimore, it's in that Hamden neighborhood, and see what they got to offer at Bazaar. Tell them Rob Lee sent you. Takeout is cool, but delivery gets pricey. So, like a phoenix from the ashes, indoor dining is back at Forge Eatery. I use the analogy because the food is fire. It's a new approach to farm to table. No overalls, just dope food. Try my favorites, like the mushroom stew with pine nuts and ricotta, the cornmeal fried happy oysters, and the seared duck breast. Also, ask about the chocolate chip cookie tins. Mini chocolate chip cookies with a dusting of sea salt. Simply delicious. Head on over to forgedeatery.com to check out the current menu options and make a reservation today. Forged is located at 3520 Chestnut Avenue in Hamden. Welcome to Getting to the Truth in This Art. I am your host, Rob Lee, and today's guest is a Baltimore-based figure painter known not only for captivating, but also unconventional in our use of color, texture, and composition. We have Monica Ikegwu. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. How's it going?
It's going great.
It's good.
I said that with some exuberance.
Yes.
So, I always start off, I gave a very rough, I had to trim down what I originally had written because I was like, I'm stumbling over the words in terms of like the intro. Mm-hmm. So I will invite you to describe what your work is and what your work is all about.
Okay, so essentially I'm an African-American portrait painter. So for me, I'm trying to create like a diverse view of African-American people instead of like the standard stereotypical one. So I'll get I'll act like, family members, or I'll take on volunteers, or I'll act strangers, essentially like anyone, just to again, broadening the spectrum. But from there, once I ask them, then I let them direct their own pose where they can direct their clothing, they can direct the hair they want, they can bring props in, essentially they create their own image instead of me projecting my ideas onto them. So they have freedom to create their image instead of having someone decide it for them. And then with that, I just take the picture, and with the picture, that's when I work with the piece and I decide on the colors and the backgrounds. Yeah. So the colors are mainly monochromatic, which I decide what goes best with their skin tone, Yeah. And then the background, I kind of reference their clothing in order to get the pattern that I put in the background, because people express themselves through their outward appearances. So that's what I like to focus on. Sure. When you don't see someone, you look at them, and then the way they dress is how you judge them or how you perceive them. So I'll take elements from their clothing and then I use that in the background space. But essentially that's it.
I dig it. And, as I said before, I was gassing up a little bit, but really dig your work. And
thank you.
It's dope. And it's interesting of allowing or having the subject direct themselves. This is mm-hmm. what I want to do. And I think that resonates through of this is vulnerable and this is comfortable. This is what I'm choosing, as opposed to someone saying, do this pose and let me capture that. And then I'm going to recreate it. And I think it's easier. For me, I did a photo shoot months back, and I don't like taking pictures because I'm 6'4", and it's I don't know what to do with my limbs. And it's just why are you voguing? What is this? And
I know some people they're can you pose me? I was no, that's not the point. You pose yourself. They're I don't know what to do. And I was go. I'm yeah.
I'm going to eventually do a death drop. And I was just get it. I blew my knee out. Just get it. So what types of art, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the discipline that you're working in most regularly, but what types of art do you identify with most?
I mean, I do realism, but more so contemporary art is not I don't really look at the old masters for like but people that are like working now, like you have like Carrie James Marshall, you have like Kehinde Wiley, the big one. And then you have like Amy Sherrill, you have I don't want to pronounce her name. Is Leah Dom? No, Lynette Leah Dom. I don't know. I can't pronounce it. I'm so sorry that I'm butchering her name. But she creates like figurative work, but it's like all from her imagination. But they still like they have a personality, which is like strange, but I like it. But yeah, I like portrait artists, but I also I grew up with like a graphic design background in high school. So I also like abstract work, but like minimalism type stuff where it's like designs and like patterns, not too like crowded, but like very simple. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to like get into that field, not like complete abstraction, but a little bit abstraction in my work as well, like flat color planes as well. But a little bit of minimalism and then, the straight like realistic portrait painting is what I like the most.
I dig it. I was about to say, is that a new drop right there? Like, yeah, moving in this direction. I was like, oh, exclusive, spacing more.
I mean, you can see it. It's like, you can see like flat planes of color mixed in with the pattern. Yeah. I don't know where it'll go completely, but it's like, it's a little shift.
And the thing is, I think, and how, so as far as your practice, like in doing it at the level you're at, and maybe this is coming off as weird, but how long have you been working at your craft to get to the point that you're at now? Because Mike, I think you're relatively you're in your early 20s, right?
I'm 22.
So you yeah. So it's just
yep.
So it's like, yeah, I'm venturing, at 25, I'm going to be doing this. And at 30, I'm in my blue stage or whatever the thing is. So ultimately, where would you see or what would be a dream project you would want to be doing in the next 5 to 10 years or what have you, just in thinking pie in the sky kind of?
Okay, so I don't know in terms of painting where it'll go from here. I don't know if I'll still be doing the pattern stuff, but a dream project, how some artists work with fashion designers, for clothing. That if I could do that, that'd be nice. I want to be able to do that. Get my paintings on top of some clothing and then see it run down the runway. That's nice. That's a dream project.
That's the biggest ego stroke. It's yeah, you say that. I did. That's me.
Yeah,
that's me. So in visualization, I know for me, I'm not talented. I just do podcasts, and sometimes I get in this spot of creating and trying to put together a show and put together how this is going to come off, and just that performance piece for people seeing it live when we can get back to that. I find that visualizing it first enables me to be okay, I can at least see it. And it may not be perfect, may not be exact, because it never is, but at least I have a guide to aim for. When you're working on a project or when you're considering a project, do you see the finished project before you start, or is there anything and is there anything special to get you in that creative mindset?
Okay, so for me, since I'm working with people and I'm letting them do whatever they want, I can't technically visualize what happens because they can pick a pose that's completely different. And I've had people they will wear fabrics and they'd be like, oh, I picked this one because I think it will be hard to paint. And I'm like, thank you very much. We're going to try to work with that. But yeah, they direct the pose and then I'll take what they give me and then I have to paint off of that picture. So while I'm painting, I'm kind of on the fly deciding what to do. Yeah. I always paint the figure first and then the background comes later after I'm done. I look at the figure, I'm like, okay, now what do I do for the background? I know I painted this one painting and I was trying to render the background with fur, but I couldn't paint it for some reason. It wasn't coming out right that day. And I was like, you know what? No, we scratched it. We scratched it out and we put polka dots. And I was like, yes, that works better. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it did work in the end, but sometimes it don't always work out because my skill doesn't always work when I want it to.
That's great. It's I didn't cooperate right there. It's when someone has a superpower. It's we'll get there.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I don't know why, when you were saying, it's oh, it's the person. It's I would imagine if someone comes to you just being a heel because oh, this is going to be hard to do. So I could see, because I'm a little bit of a heel. It's oh, well, we're going to paint you, Rob. Cool. I have the beard and then suddenly it's just clean shaven. And then it's I get a unit put in. I have fake hair put in. It's the hell is this?
I mean, but it's your choice. If you want to, that's how you want me to paint it. Sure. Let me do it. Sure.
I have the wild Thomas James hair or what have you. That's the angle that I'm going for.
Oh, yes. Perfect.
So let's see. So you're drawing some of your inspiration, a lot of your inspiration from real people, obviously, and people in your life. Has there been a real life like situation that was just like, all right, I want to at least capture some of the elements here, whether it be in some of the color choices or in the background or just like what you're thinking as you're working on the project?
So like I do African American portraits, so there's like some elements of like Black culture that I kind of want to capture. There's this one piece of my brother. He's like brushing his hair with like the wave brush. Yeah, that I wanted to capture because like the amount of effort that guys put into getting the waves, I get waves too, so I got to go into the brushing. So capturing that and then like profiling it, like look at it, like I think that's important as well. But yeah, just like small things like that, stuff that I noticed that, you know, people, you know, take care of themselves, but like aren't really like talked about as much.
I've noticed one that sticks out. It's like, I think it's like baby hair or hair. It's like, all right.
Yes, the baby hairs too. I do that all the time. Yes, people don't really appreciate it, but it's a craft, it's art.
It is.
It is, yeah.
I mean, as a person formerly with hair, it's like, all right, I envy y'all here. No, but I think it's something that definitely just speaks on like just having Black folks be able to create stuff, because it's like these things can be done really, really, really well, because there's a lot of talent, especially here in Baltimore, that it's just like, oh, well, not really, but it's like, it is. Let's allow it to grow. Let's allow it to blossom, and let's cultivate it within the city. Because I think at the same time, with all of this talent that's like birthed here and has connections here, people leave. And that's the thing that it can happen as people grow and so on. But, you know, I think it has to be something that motivates folks to stay here. So for you, what are some of your favorite things about being an artist with ties to Baltimore? Speak on that a bit.
Okay, so I've been in Baltimore my whole entire life. But honestly, I think it's just the people. I can't really say this, but like, I don't know. I've never lived anywhere else.
Sure.
So, but for me, it's the people here, but I can't really compare it because I've never lived anywhere else. So I don't know about the people anywhere else. But for me, like the people here are just amazing. Like people have this idea that like Baltimore is bad, the people are mean or whatever. But honestly, the people here are nice. We get along. I mean, like they speak their minds. Like we don't back down. But the people here are amazing, and that's like how I've got interested in portraiture, capturing, like wanting to capture people, because they come in different varieties and they express themselves in different ways, and the personalities are just unique. So for me, it's just the people here. I mean, I don't plan on leaving, to be honest with you. I want to stay here.
Right on. It's good to hear that, because that's one of the things that comes out of this podcast. Like one of the focuses of it, it came out of our former president talking very spicy. And I was like, I want to disprove this jerk and show that we have talent. We have people here, not just numbers, not just like hot takes. We have people here. And I think in part, like what your work is aiming to do is like showing the unique people that you're capturing in these portraits or what have you. And that often gets lost when people are out there grandstanding and talking about, oh, this violence here, these bad things. And it's like, that's a person. These are people. And it's like, capture the essence of these people. And that's why I think it's important to have people who are here and who are about it and who have the talent and who want to be here. It's a really important thing. So is there something that you've designed that you're especially proud of?
Okay, so there's this one painting. It's a self-portrait of myself. I do lots of self-portraits. Wait, I bet you've seen them.
I stopped for a second. I was like, all right, where does this go? It's like, yeah, it's a portrait of myself. I was like, okay.
Yeah. It's one of my all-time favorites. This is a blue one. It's probably like a little bit further down on my Instagram page, but it's the one where it's like my face, but like there's a light casting against it. And like I'm wearing like a blue puffy jacket, and then the background is a blue puffy jacket as well. I don't know. I really love that piece.
I think I've seen that one. That's a good one. That's a good one. So now this one is off. This is off the page, actually. Most prized possession that you have. I'm not going to steal it. I'm not going to steal it. I always ask people that. And it's like, you gonna break in my house? I was like, no. Because, you know, like some people say, oh yeah, it was this color pencil I had from like elementary school. And I was like, you still have that? Or something in that vein. Like, for me, like it's super corny, but I have a autographed like 8x10 from one of my favorite wrestlers, and I got to meet him in person. I was like, oh, this is great. And he looks at because he's a Japanese wrestler, and he looks at wrestling as his art form, and he puts that type of energy and he approaches it in that way. And he's like, form, but also I need to do this physical component of it. And I was just like, oh wow, and reading up on his philosophy and how he goes about life. I was like, I really admire this dude, and having his autograph over there on my wall with some of the accomplishments that I've had. It's like those things are together intentionally. So that's a prized possession for me.
Okay, I don't know about the most prized possession. I can't say about the most prized. I have one because I know because I graduated from my high school, and then I went back because I know the kids like that were younger than me. They have like their senior show, so I would always go back there. Yeah. And then there was this one kid, like he made like these pins, like these homemade pins, and he would like give them to people who like inspired him. And like he called me, and I was like, yeah. He was, I want to give you this because you inspired me. And I was like, oh really? And then like, but like I was touched, and I was like, oh my goodness. And then like I showed my mom, I was like, look what he gave me, and she was like, that's like why are you so excited about that? And I was like, it's the meaning. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It's the meaning behind it. I don't know. I still have it here. I just love that. I don't know.
No, that's great. Like I have like friggin' scrapbooks. Like, you know, when we like here we had those like free papers or what have you.
Yeah.
And every little me being witty and trying to be interesting of just I for whatever reason they would take the things that I would say and put it in the paper. And at one point, my mom was just like, I've seen each one of these. I'm cutting these out. Yeah, Rob Lee said this. I was like, all right. And then I started following through and doing that same process of collecting my own press clippings because I'm a diva in that way.
I mean, I do that too. I have like a stacks of magazines every time my art is featured. I was like, oh, let me go buy it. Let me go get it. And it's like getting bigger and bigger. I'm like, okay, cool.
I was like, yeah, have you read about me?
Yeah.
So speaking of time, and this is a question around that supposed like perseverance and just being undaunted. Speaking of time that you were discouraged, and in what ways it maybe affected your creativity.
Okay, so there are times, you know, me being in the art field where I was discouraged from being an artist. Mm-hmm. They would be like, the stereotypical, art doesn't make money. You shouldn't be an artist. And I was like, okay. But for me, I have like a kind of like a, I wouldn't say like a big head, or like, I'm just really like nonchalant about it. And I'm just like, oh, okay, whatever. But I've heard that many times. And then also there was a teacher, I remember, I'm not going to drop his name, where I told him that I wanted to be like a known artist before I graduated undergrad. Yeah. And he was like, oh, that would never happen. That'll never happen. And I was like, huh? He's like, that happens like after you leave Buzz. So don't really like try and get there. Oh. I mean, but I'm not really known, but it's higher than what I had expected. No, and right. I did that before I did graduate. So I'm like, okay, hats off to myself. But
that's great.
But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of nonchalant. Like if you tell me something, it just makes me want to like, I can do that. I can do that. I can go against what you just said. Yeah. It doesn't really get me like depressed. Like, oh crap, you just said that. I guess I can't do it. Like, no. You said that. Like, okay, let me go prove you wrong.
I admire that trait. It's like, oh, okay, cool. I'm going to do it twice now.
Yeah. Just, okay. You think I can't do it? Let me go do it.
You're so Baltimore. Now, this is actually, we've kind of breezed through these. Oh, nonchalant Monica. We've gotten through these. Like, I got one last question.
Okay, go ahead.
And then I'll give you an opportunity to shamelessly plug. We're all about shameless plugs here. So let's not forget that. So this one is a multifaceted one. So if you're asking someone to visit Baltimore for a weekend and they need someone to plan out, like, give me some suggestions, itinerary, that kind of thing, what would you tell them to check out and why? And frame it in this term: a place to eat, a place to check out for culture, and a place to like hang out, like a bar or something like that. So what do you have in mind?
Okay, so I've been in Baltimore my whole entire life, but I don't go out the house that often. I'm a homebody. Like I literally don't leave the house. So I don't even know a lot of places that most people in Baltimore would know. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, like, and I don't even go out to eat. Like I get McDonald's. Like that's my spot.
McDonald's over there on Route 40.
Yep. Let me see. A place to eat. I mean, if I go out, you can go to Hibachi Grill. That's a buffet place. I mean, like I go there. I dig it. Yeah, I know. I go to either like McDonald's, Hibachi Grill. I mean, Old Country Buffet. I mean, that place pulled down, but usually like buffets or like restaurants. That's where I go. And then I usually just like eat in the house, but I don't go anywhere. You could try like the buffet place, try that. That's good. Hibachi Grill, I'll say it again. And then
nice plug.
Bars, I don't even drink, so I know nothing about that. I'm 22, little child here. And then let me see, a place for culture. You can go to the harbor. I mean, I go to the harbor all the time. I mean, like when I went there last time, you got people singing on the street, you got people like, I like the bikers, the bikers that just like bike around there. Oh my gosh, I love them. Yeah, I love them. Even when they're not even in the harbor, like when you walk in like on North Avenue, when you see the bikers, I freaking love them. But yeah, for culture, I mean, just go to the harbor. You'll see there's tons of people there all the time. I don't know. I haven't been there since like the Corona event happened. It's just still active. But before Corona, it was really active. You see tons of people, like the food there. Yep. They got food there, They got the stands.
No hibachi grills there, though. No, I'm kidding.
No hibachi grills there. Nope. They don't have any down there. Nope.
That's good.
But yeah, I can't really recommend more than that. I don't really go out that much, which sounds kind of sad, but all I do is paint.
I dig that though. It's like, yeah, I'm just an artist. Food, just send me some McDonald's, put it in my veins.
Exactly. It's not healthy, but it tastes good.
I mean, I have talked to people about my college experience at Morgan, and it was always just McDonald's. It was like, yo, 2 double cheeseburgers, 2 pies, and like a sweet tea. Let the diabetes come. And it was just like, how did you eat that? I was like, I don't know. It was good.
It was good. Exactly.
I was in college. So before we wrap up, I'm going to give you the opportunity, because it's all about at least one of the major things for this podcast is to bring attention and try to amplify and just provide another platform to put your work out there and to put yourself out there as a creator here locally. So shameless plugs. Where are you at? Where can he find you? Any projects coming up? Things like that.
Okay, so for me, I work with 2 galleries right now. One is called Band Devices. One is in Los Angeles. You can check them out. And then I work with one here in Baltimore. It's called Gallery Mertice. You can go and check them out. And then for any updates about what I'm doing or what I will do, you can always head over to my Instagram, which is Monica, Monica. I almost spelled my name wrong.
Like Miami.
Monica 165, Monica 165. And then, yeah, you can go to my Instagram and then check out whatever you want. All my stuff is there. And then my website is also linked in my bio on my Instagram. But essentially, that's it. Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you so much. I'll do
You're
my
welcome.
sign off. So for Monica Ikegwu, I am Rob Leese, and it is art in and around Baltimore. You just got to look for it.